Hey everyone, just wanted to do another quick video update here on my Sea Reefer 250. Taping this on Monday, and this coming Wednesday would be week 5 of the tank. You might be able to see already just from the video, but quite a bit to go over today. Some new additions to the tank. First and foremost, did add some livestock to the tank. Really excited about that. It was, if you're watching my previous videos, it was a decision that my fiance and I were deciding. We didn't know if we wanted to wait till about May or if we were just going to go ahead and do it. Also, if you remember on the last video, I started doing a lot of testing on the water with the Red Sea Marine Care and Reef Foundation kits, as well as I added the Instant Ocean Biospira, the nitrifying bacteria solution. It's supposed to make your tank not reef ready, but ready for fish within like 24 hours. I did follow the instructions on that. It said basically just the bottle that I got was about the 8 fluid ounce one, up to tanks of 75 gallons. It said pour it in. I poured in the whole thing. I didn't try to, figure it out, and wait about 48 hours. So turn the skimmer off, let it do its thing for about 48 hours. Checked the levels the next 2 days after that, and I had 0 ammonia, just a trace of nitrates, 0 nitrites, so I figured it was working pretty well, and it was time. You can kind of see down here in the corner one of the additions. Try not to spook them. My diamond spotted goby, doing real well at aerating the sand. The tank, actually, you can't really tell too much, but tank's a little cloudier than usual, and well, that's just because he's been going through all the sand. One thing I didn't do was really wash the sand too well before I put it in there, so I'm sure there's still a little bit of sediment that's getting blown into the water from him going through everything. But I'm also really happy that he's going to help with the diatom accumulation on the sand bed, so he's basically my sand cleaner. Also over there in the right, I do have a clown and a blue tang. Got them together at a local fish store by me. Really good deals, really good prices. Really happy with it so far. And then I also in here have a algae bunny, which he's been hiding today. He found a little cave that my diamond spotted goby made, and he's been kind of chilling in there today. Oh, there goes the diamond. Yeah, he's been hiding down there in that cave, but he's actually not there at the moment, so. Got a couple snails in here. I have 4 at the moment, just Mexican turbo snails. I might also add in some Nasser snails just to help with the sand bed. They're really good for getting the sand, where these Mexican turbos really like to stick to the rock and stuff that has algae built onto it, or the glass. Yeah, so that's the big part of the tank. Also, if you remember in my last video, I was debating about getting a couple small pieces of live rock, which I did. I got about 4 pounds, 3 pieces here, of this Reef 2.0, or I think it's called Real Reef Rock. My local fish store supplies it. They have just a display tank. They order in bulk, and took a couple pieces out of there. And I haven't really seen any coralline algae growth yet, but I'm hoping in the future this will help speed it up. And now there's actually going to be more in the tank that will require the alkalinity and calcium, so the dosing will kind of work itself into the cycle. Those are the biggest additions to the tank. I will tell you, it's kind of hard to see now, guys, but these rocks were covered in diatom and like mini hair algae for about a week, and these turbo snails have done some work. They are basically spotless now. Like, you can see one up there, one over here by the tang and the clown. Oh, there's the goby. There's one snail in front of the goby there who's kind of just trying to, I don't know, maybe burrow himself under that rock. And then there's another one behind the main rock over there who's just been kind of dormant, but he's not dead. Poked him and he's still moving around, so he's probably not one to cling onto the rocks yet. But yeah, really happy so far. All the fish seem to be doing really well. Clown's doing well, the tang's doing well. I also have up here, sorry you can't really see it with the clip, but the magnet. Have a clip for the veggies. I'm feeding him just some green seaweed in addition to frozen mysis shrimp is their main diet right now. I started off trying to do the the pellets, and just, you know, I didn't have too much luck. Wasn't really enjoying it. It's actually down here. Won't say anything wrong necessarily with it. New Life Spectrum Marine Fish Formula. The only problem that I ran into with it is that it basically just kept getting eaten by the filter. So then I went another route and was like, okay, well, just like I would for frozen food, I'll get like a little shot glass, put some tank water in there, and hopefully it would dissolve. Well, you know, I tried it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. The stuff just wasn't dissolving. So then I would basically just like, it would, once I poured it in from the shot glass, it would go straight to the bottom of the tank. And the fish that I currently have in there now, besides the goby over here, he's not much to eat off the floor. Or I'm sorry, they're not much to pick at the floor. Even the tang isn't really picking at the floor. He's just going for the veggie clip that I have up in the corner. So I figured probably they're not eating as much as they could be, so I switched it over to the frozen mysis shrimp, and they're just loving it. I cut the cubes I get, it's a 30 pack from I believe Omega 1 into about quarters. Feed them twice a day, and that's been the cycle so far. Down here in the sump, guys, skimmer's doing pretty well. You can see it's foaming pretty nicely right now. Not really discolored, but I cleaned it out this morning. You can see there's already a little bit of debris, or not really debris, but yellow liquid there at the bottom. So, you know, I think it's doing its job. I've had some ups and downs with it. Probably gonna do a separate video on the skimmer just for some suggestions and feedback, but you know, I'm still pretty happy with it. I've been running into some issues lately, but like I said, I'm not gonna bog down this video with it. As of now, it's been doing pretty well. Even though it's not a thicker, gunky kind of material it's taken out quite yet, I mean, regardless, the stuff just reeks when I empty out the filter cup there. So it's doing something, and it honestly, being in week 5, it probably still got some more break-in to do. The tank still breaking in a little bit. Still majority of the original fresh, or you know, water in there. I've done about 3 water changes so far at 10%. Yeah, so more to come on that. Heater down here is doing pretty well. I'm still in the process of looking at getting a secondary one. Not sure if I'll go with another Finex or try something else, like the Eheim Jaeger. But just to keep the temperature more consistent, because right now there is about 1.5 degree fluctuation between like day and night, and depending on how cold or warm it is outside. Like here in Michigan, we had a couple like near 60-degree days in February where it actually was heating to the spec, because if you remember, I was telling you guys back there on the controller, I have it about 2 degrees higher than what I actually want to set it at. And that, when it's been cold, like in the 20s and 30s, has been working out pretty well, but there's still a decent fluctuation. This guy over here, reactor is doing pretty well, no leaks, nothing to be concerned about. I have the return going straight back into this one filter sock. It's super quiet, guys. Yeah, like, it's a great addition. The only thing I don't like about it is its size. That's the one thing I will say, because I would have loved to have put it in the sump, but just with having the return pump and everything else, it wasn't going to fit, and it would have been a pain for tank maintenance, because you would have had to take it out when you wanted to change the filter sock. So I just decided to put it this way. My one concern though I do have is probably next week when I do the water change, I'm going to change out the carbon. And I'm not sure how messy that's going to be. I'm hoping that, you know, unplugging the pump will at least lower the water level enough so I can unscrew the cylinder here and not get a lot of water leakage out into the base here. But more to come on that, and I'll definitely post a video after I've done it to let you guys know how it worked. I'm also going to be adding in GFO, so the next time I change this out, like I said, more than likely next week, I'm still going to do the carbon, but I'm going to do the carbon GFO mixture, just because now there's livestock in the tank and I'm feeding it. I want to make sure I'm getting the phosphates out of there. Filter socks right now, guys, have been doing pretty well. Changing them about once a week right now. That's when they're getting clogged the most. Right now it's back to the original 225 micron mesh ones that are in there. I do also have 2 sets of the 225 micron felt filter socks. The one thing I will say, and it was a learning opportunity for me, if you guys are brand new to this, make sure you wash these socks. And what I mean by that is at least you know, throw them in some water, preferably RODI water, for a little bit before you put them in the tank. Don't just put them in right out of the box, because your skimmer will go crazy. The 2 new sets of filter socks I put in over the last 2 weeks, my skimmer overflowed for a good 24 hours, and I had to crank that bad boy to get the water level in the column all the way down, and it was still overflowing for about 24 hours. So it was a learning experience, but good stuff for you guys out there that are just getting into it to know. The mesh ones haven't really had too much issue with, just because they're really thin material. There's not much to them, but the polyester felt socks, like, there's just some sort of reaction that was happening, and the skimmer was going crazy. I mean, I want to say the water flow must have been still pretty consistent, because like I said, this sump over here has always had consistent water level, and that's the way it's set up. Like, this is a designated skimmer chamber. You can see the back overflow there. It's meant to be at 8 inches at all times. Short of you leaving the return pump off for several days and evaporation occurs, that's the only way that this chamber would lower. So my only other option was going to be maybe putting like some milk crate or like a piece of foam or something under it to raise it up, but I mean, right now I'm pretty happy with where the foam level is, and as you can see, water level's not all the way at the top, so I still have some room to play with if the bubble level were to drop a little bit. And just from like the skimmer taking out the stuff that it is, the skimmate, you know, I have noticed the salinity slightly decreases, so I keep a little cup here with some salt in it, and just every other day add a little shake in there, and it's been keeping the salinity level pretty consistent. No issues here. I did run into an issue, guys, I will tell you about this, with the float valve over there. The other day it got clogged, so I had to unscrew it, and there was just like some debris that got in there. So one thing you really want to make sure is, maybe every once in a while when you get close to draining your reservoir, take it out, clean it, make sure there's no debris that can get into the hose over there down through the line, because it clogged that up. And I noticed one night, as I was just doing my evening kind of ritual and looking over everything to make sure it was good before I head to bed, the pump chamber in the back was like extremely low, and I was like, oh no, what's happening? There's water in the chamber, what's going on? And then I looked, and it wasn't dripping at all. So took it apart real quick. It was a 5-minute fix. It's very easy. There's like 2 like nut type things there. The one that the hose is connected to unscrews, and then there's one that there's like another nut that connects to the little black triangle piece there that you unscrew, and then the whole thing pops down, and take it apart, clean it, put it back together, and it's been working fine. But yeah, other than that, guys, not too much else to report. I will say, from my last video, I have dumbed down a little bit on the dosing. I was doing about 18 milliliters of the alkaline and calcium a day. I'm now doing about 10. The last reading that I did, my calcium was at 430, trying to keep it at about 420. And my alkalinity was at a 10.7, and I'm trying to keep that at a 9. So probably didn't help that for the most part I didn't have anything in here that required it too much, but now with the snails that use the calcium, and then the live rock that will hopefully continue to produce coralline algae as well as seed it across the tank, hoping that I'll be able to go back up to those levels in a little bit. But as of now, I've dumbed it down just a little bit, a little under half, just to make sure that I'm not overdosing the tank. Yeah, guys, so that's our week 5 update over here. Please feel free to leave any comments, questions, suggestions below, and thanks for watching.